everybody, I'm Mary Risley again from San Francisco. I have a cooking school called Tante Marie's, and today I'm going to show you how to make a spring lamb stew. First, what I bought is the tough cuts of lamb. These are the pieces of lamb that come from either the shoulder or the ends of the legs. Half of this lamb here has bone in it. The more you can cook with the bones in it, the better it's going to taste. I'm salt and peppering the pieces of lamb. Sometimes you could do that on both sides. And now I'm going to brown it. This is a heavy bottom pan with about 1/4 inch of butter and olive oil in it. And I'm waiting till it goes beyond bubbly and gets still like a lake. When it's beginning to brown and is a little bit still, you want to put your meat in. And there are 2 rules about browning meat. One is don't crowd the pan, and the other is don't push the meat around. New cooks like to do this. Do. That's not what you want. You want it to brown, and it browns when it sticks to the bottom of the pan. Also, if you crowd the pan, what'll happen is it drops the temperature, so it won't stay hot. And so you want to get nice brown, sticky stuff on the bottom of the pan. And you don't want the bottom of the pan to burn. So it's really, really important that you don't push the meat around and don't crowd the pan. And when it sticks, it's not ready to turn. So you try and remember the first piece of meat went in, and you turn it and do like this, and you want to brown it on all sides and be very careful to save the colored meat juices on the bottom of the pan. As the meat browns, you move it to the bigger pan. And you can see that the pan is beginning to smoke, and a lot of the pieces of meat are done already. So now is when it's really, really important not to let the bottom of the pan burn. Even if some of the pieces don't get quite as brown as you like, watch the bottom of the pan, because if that bottom of the pan burns, you'll never have a good tasting sauce. Okay, so I've got brown residue on the bottom of the pan, and now I'm going to quickly add some onions. So if you salt at every stage of the dish, it's going to taste better than if you just add salt at the end, okay? So now I've added the garlic, and as I said before, you have to be careful not that the garlic doesn't burn. Burnt garlic tastes terrible. Burnt onions is okay. Burnt garlic, terrible. And now I'm going to throw in some wine. If you watch, I'm not measuring. Why? Because who cares? It gets too much wine now, not enough another time. It doesn't matter. And the reason you cook the wine in this pot is that you want to cook the alcohol off. The alcohol makes it kind of bitter. And now I'm going to add a can of tomatoes. And what I always do with a can of tomatoes is I clean out the can with a little bit of water and add that. This just gets a little more tomato juice in there. This is some smoked pimenton. It's a Spanish paprika that's been smoked. And I use this to flavor things a lot, and I'm just sticking a little bit in here. Okay, now I'm going to cook the onion and tomato mixture, and some people add just a little bit of sugar when they add tomatoes, but I don't think that's a good idea. I'm going to put just a little more salt and pepper in. And this is my tomato mixture, the base for my spring lamb stew. You don't want to boil it, you want to simmer it. If you boil it too vigorously, the meat all the juices come out of the meat and it shrinks up in little knots, okay? So don't boil it, just simmer it gently. And you could simmer it on top of the stove, or you can put it in an oven in a heavy bottom pan with a lid on it. Okay, so here we go. My tomato mixture is going on top of my lamb stew. Ooh la la, that looks good. Now watch this. What I'm gonna do here is move the pan over to the flame, just to get it going a little bit. And then I'm going to add enough chicken stock to come slightly up to the level of the meat. You want it to be just a little bit lower than the meat. And salt and pepper. If you salt too much, you're in a lot of trouble, because you can't take salt out of a dish except to add a whole lot more lamb and tomatoes and onions. So that looks pretty good. How's that look? Okay, we've got that in the oven. The lamb's in the oven. Next, we're going to do the vegetables. What I have here are carrots, parsnips, and sugar snap peas. Of course, it could be green beans. And I washed the carrots and cut them in thirds. And then cut them into sticks like this. Do-do, do-do. Now I'm going to do the parsnips, and I do a bunch of parsnips like this. Do-do, do-do. Now this parsnip has a little bit of a core here. Parsnips are the best tasting vegetable, but they have a little bit of a hard core, so I do it like this. It's best to cook your vegetables one at a time. Don't put them all in the pot because each vegetable has a different cooking time. So first you cook the carrots in boiling salted water. Then you take them out with a sieve, and then you cook the parsnips in boiling salted water and take those out with a sieve. And then the last thing to go in are the green beans or the little snow peas, and you take that out with a sieve. Okay, look at this. I have my 3 vegetables that boiled in boiling water and chilled. And now I'm going to reheat them. You should know that all vegetables can be stored in a plastic bag for 3 days when they're cooked like this. So I've cooked them separately and put them all together in the same pot, and I'm heating them up with a little bit of butter. And of course I could add salt and pepper. So these are my springtime vegetables. Now I'm going to get out my lamb stew. You ready? Okay, this is my spring lamb stew that's been cooking for a couple of hours in a 350 oven. What you want to do after you've cooked it is let it cool. You could let it cool overnight in the fridge. If it chills in the fridge, the fat comes to the top. Or if you're making it the same day, you just take a spoon, you let it cool for a few minutes, and you take the fat off the top, okay? Don't ever try to cook a fatless stew. That's really silly. But don't serve a stew with all the fat in it. So I'm just taking the spoonfuls of the fat that have cooled a little bit, okay? And look at this. I'm testing my meat to see whether it's done. So I take a piece of meat like this and stick a fork in it, and it should kind of fall back off the fork. Okay, so first you get the liquid right, and then you taste it. And what I'm looking for is a strong lamb taste and some salt, pepper, acid, bitter. Oh, that's delicious. I think this is fantastic, okay? And now I'm going to spoon it into my warmed plate. You could serve this with polenta. You could serve it with noodles like Spätzle, Austrian noodles. You could serve it with boiled new potatoes or grilled bread. Now watch this. So what I'm going to do, and so I'm going to do it with my clean hands. I'm going to put some parsnips here, some carrots here. How do you like this? And make sure to mix the rest of the vegetables in with the stew when you stick it in the freezer, because you want to have a healthful, wonderful meal for all your friends. My name is Mary Risley from Tante Marie's Cooking School. You could find this recipe and more on tantemaries.com. And the most important thing is to remember to have fun cooking.